The second source of optimism for me, Becky, and it's still just a sliver, but it's important, was your previous guest, Senator Toomey, because I thought he framed where we are right now very, very clearly. He said this is not about recounting anymore. This is not Trump versus Biden on recount. This is not Trump versus the Constitution. This guy's trying to enlist state legislatures to simply dismiss the votes in their state and give their electoral college votes to him. That's not a recount. That's Trump versus the Constitution. And what's been inspiring to me is to see the number of Republican and Democrats at the state level, judges, vote, agency certifiers, people who just went and served as poll workers, lining up and doing the right thing, Republicans and Democrats, and coming out for the Constitution versus Trump. And that's a source of optimism for me. Unfortunately, it hasn't happened at the national level beyond the likes of Mitt Romney and Pat Toomey. But when you see the number of people who said, no, the Constitution comes first, it's Constitution before party, that gives me some hope.
For those of you who are just joining us, maybe just waking up, let me explain a little bit about what Senator Toomey told us. He's a Republican senator from Pennsylvania. He supported Donald Trump. He voted for him. He campaigned for him. He said he was disappointed with the election outcome on this. But he also was the one who supported the judge, the Pennsylvania judge, who dismissed the Trump campaign's latest actions that went against this. That judge was appointed by President Barack Obama, but he was sponsored by Senator Pat Toomey. That judge is a Republican. He's a member of the Federalist Society. And what Toomey was saying at this point is he wanted to see all of the legal means of going about kind of looking at recounts, kind of looking at ways to actually challenge this in the court. But he says that time has passed. And the idea of putting pressure on the Michigan electors or the Republicans who would certify the electors, the slate of electors from Michigan, he thinks, in his words, was an apparent attempt to thwart the will of the Michigan voters and select an illegitimate slate of college electors. And I think those are pretty strong words, again, from someone who has been a supporter. Tom, I think you are starting to see people like this speak up a little bit more. I think of the Maryland governor, who's a Republican, who also said that it's time to kind of move on these points. And I think everyone wants to make sure that the votes are counted accurately, that things are all by the straight and narrow. But there are more and more Republicans who are coming to that consensus at this point. And I guess the question becomes, how long does the White House run this out?
That we really don't know. President Trump has been a norm breaker from the very beginning. He could take this all the way to Election Day. And to do that in the middle of a pandemic when we need coordination between the incoming administration and the outgoing administration would be unconscionable. But I would make no predictions. I think it's very disturbing that we're even at this point. But it's really heartening to see at least some courageous Republican senators. Chris Christie stepped up, former governor, yesterday. And I just hope we'll see more in the next few days for the sake of the country.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.